All right, here's our music, just rocking.
Yeah. Let's keep it going, man.
Yeah.
This is a new one for us.
Oh, man. Olympic superstar.
Olympic superstar. Somebody a little bit overlooked in a way, maybe because of the sport he played in or what happened at those Olympics. And welcome, everybody, to the Sports Experience Podcast. I am co-host Dominic DiTolla, sitting alongside co-host Chris Quinn. And you ready for some Olympic action today?
Yeah, I mean, this guy... It was a little research for this podcast. I mean, he was just an Olympic champion in a time. I saw something that I thought was great in a time of international tension.
Ooh, international tension. That never happens. But no, the gentleman we're talking about today is Eric Heiden.
Yeah.
Eric Heiden, who is a very athletic person, just overall athleticism. While he's famous for one sport, definitely grew up as an outdoors kind of guy.
And he actually made a good shot at other sports, and we'll talk about that after it. But he grew up in a very competitive household, which you see this on a lot of these athletes where they're just like, no, it was every single day. Me and my sister were competing, and my grandpa was like really encouraging us because his grandpa was I believe an amateur hockey player and coach. So they were, I imagine, skating from like the time they were 3.
Yeah,
so.
no. And I mean, what are you going to do? Born June 14th, 1958 in Madison, Wisconsin. So when you're in Wisconsin, ice, snow, and really getting after the outdoors.
Yeah.
And it's good that his family was like not overbearingly competitive. It was just like, play sports.
It was one of those healthy, competitive environments, and something that one of his childhood friends said was just like, one day they just like started to turn this room into pretty much their sports room, and there was just pretty much all of these different things like the gymnastic equipment and just like different workout equipment. So like they've just been like going hard at, I feel like, Olympic sports their whole life.
Yeah, which is kind of unfortunate. Like not for-profit sports, that bring in tons of revenue. But I mean, he was really athletic as far as cycling, speed skating, obviously, and cross-country skiing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, have you ever done cross-country skiing?
No, I've never skied a day in my life.
Oh, my God. It's like the most energy-expending activity you could do.
I imagine.
Because you're not going down.
No.
You're like marching.
Walking with these giant skis.
Hello, everybody. There was a place, him and his sister actually have like a athletic facility there.
I was wondering if we were going to bring this up. So like it was so cold, and they would train on these ice rinks. So like figure skating, speed skating, hockey. And then they were like, we need a place to warm up afterwards.
Let's not get hypothermia.
Exactly. Because I wonder if that happened to multiple kids because, hey, this was the era.
I'm sure it did.
And
it's the era. Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah. Can we please do something? And I think the place is still actually named after him and his sister. Because
Heiden House. And
Heiden
the house is spelled German like Heiden House.
Heiden House. Thank you very much.
But growing up, totally athletic family, and graduates from Madison West High School in 1976. And kind of right after that, he starts competing professionally.
Well,
not professionally, but I mean like internationally is a better way to put it.
I was going to say at the top level of speed skating.
Yes, he chose speed skating over the other sports, which one he'll play later. But
Well, we see in 77, he's in the World Championships. So just that leap right there. So he graduates 76. 77, he's in the World Championships, which is in Dutch, which is in the Netherlands, which is in Holland.
It's all the same.
And I forget, I meant to write it down, but the place where the championships are held, this is like the speed skating mecca.
Yeah, it's like speed skating is I had no idea until I researched this. It's super popular in the Netherlands / Holland / Dutchland, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, for a long time, their second most popular athlete was a speed skater behind a soccer player.
Johan Cruyff?
No, this was in the 2000s with Arjen Robben. And that's the thing, is like, it wasn't like soccer player. It was literally soccer player, speed skater. Like, that's how popular speed skating is there. And he said he got this first, like, almost like it would be like a confidence boost for him, because obviously he goes there, wins the world championship, but he beats the the current world champion.
Yeah, the Dutch guy, right?
Who was Dutch, and he said the audience not like they cheered, for the champion, but they cheered like he was from, Holland, like this was like their hometown guy because they saw what a great speed skater he was going to be.
He's so fast.
I mean, literally, like this 18, 19-year-old kid beats the world champion, and they're just like, whoa, okay. And that was the other thing was he was beating people by like 4 or 5 seconds.
And beating like guys who are like grizzly veterans of this game after he was in the juniors. But yeah, he was like just this phenom that came out of nowhere. Like insane. Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like I love this. It really is a meteoric rise because there's really nothing before what he was doing in speed skating other than like in your home rink.
Pretty much,
and then they were like, no, we're going to take him to the world championships and he's going to dominate. And then people started to take note. But speed skating is so small, people really only took note in this little community.
Yeah,
so
exactly, which is kind of crappy in a way because it's like, this guy was so good. He was so dominant at what he did.
But this is why I love the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because for like a day, 2 days, you're like, you know what? I'm going to get really into speed skating.
I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
And then you're getting all nationalistic like, dang you, I just watched Red Dawn.
You got to get into it. Other countries do it.
But won the world's junior worlds in 77 and 78. Won 3 world all-around championships and 4 sprint championships.
Yep.
And when I say he was good, I mean he was record-setting good. 3 times he broke the world record in the 100 meters, 2 times in the 300, 1 time in the 1500 or 1,000 meter. 3,000 meter twice. 1 time in the 1,500, and then 1 time in the 10,000. That's amazing. That's crazy.
And we'll talk about that 10,000 because that's quite that's one of the most amazing races to. All right, we'll get into it.
And 4 times in a row, he won the Oscar Matheson Award, which is like the best speed skater in the world.
He's the only speed skater to ever win it 4 times. And he's the only one to ever win, I think, 4 consecutive on top of that. So they were talking about you're not going to see a speed skater this dominant ever again.
And he 15 world records by the time he finished his career. But let's get into
which is young.
Yeah, I know. That's super young, especially for the window that he did it in, too. So 1980, the Winter Olympics happen. Eric Heiden is about 22 years old, on top of the world. And they're being held in the United States.
Well, and this was the thing coming in. People were like, he's in his home. He has home court advantage, which is weird to say. But
Lake Placid, home ice
advantage. But they were saying like he was so hyped that they were wondering if he was going to win 2 or 3 gold medals and medal in the other events. Like that was what they were saying was he was within the community. He was looked at as like, oh, this is our next star. We're going to watch something special. Mm-hmm. And then everybody kind of realized that after the first couple of races. I mean, let's just get right into it. First race,
Lake Placid, New York.
Yep. 500 meter.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I love the Olympics of this era. He's going up against the guy from USSR.
Which is great.
Who was the reigning Olympic champion.
Taking steroids, probably.
He might have been the reigning world champion in the 500. Something like that. And our man, Eric Heiden, goes out and literally has an Olympic record on this one and beats him. And that's when people were saying like, oh, let's start to see this because the 500 dash is like, they were talking about it being really it's almost like a mental thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just like that first sprint and you have to lock in. Like there's very little room for mistake on that.
Get out of the gate fast, basically. Yeah. Totally. He wins his first gold medal. And you're like, wow, it's already a successful Olympics. Mm-hmm. Doesn't stop there.
No. Second race is the 5,000 meter. Mm-hmm. He wins on that one. I don't think... Oh, he does get an Olympic record on this one, too. Yeah. So first 2, he has the 2 Olympic records, which is so ridiculously insane. And this is what they were saying was like, he's beating people by like 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's not like he's just barely winning by a nose or whatever you want to call it.
Well, speed skating is normally... Like racing is normally very like close to the finish where you're just like, he beat him by 30 seconds.
He's like flow-joeing people on ice skates is what this guy's doing.
Yeah. Third race, he goes at it again. This is the 1,000. I believe this is his best
It seemed
event is the 1,000 meter.
it seemed to be when I read all those like records and stuff. Yeah, the 1,000 was kind of his like bread and butter. Yeah.
And another Olympic record.
Just
Dominates
embarrassing
again.
people.
The fourth race, this was actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the fourth race was the 1,500, and there's a point in this race where he almost falls.
Oh.
And he's so far ahead that he still beats the guy by like a ton, but like he almost falls so much where he hits the ice with his hand and pushes himself back up, and you're like, whoa.
Tortoise and the hair in him now.
If you fall at that point, you're done.
Yeah.
So like this is fourth gold medal. He takes another, and it's
It's already an amazing Olympics for him. Like, and everyone's going nuts. Like the U.S. at this time, you know, politically and socially, it's pretty much down in the dumps. There's not a lot to, you know, take pride in at that moment. But these Winter Olympics proved for Eric Heiden to be like, yeah, let's get behind this guy. All
well,
right.
like I was saying, there was a lot of international tension. The Soviet Union was invading Afghanistan at this time, so we were like almost looking at this like we're battling
Oh, yeah.
the Soviet Union.
And like John Rambo hasn't shown up to help the
Thank you.
Taliban fight
Thank you.
in that, you know? Remember when that happened?
You guys remember that or no? So I brought this up because the day before
Yep.
this last race
this is good.
is the Miracle on Ice,
Yeah.
where we play the Soviet Union and beat them. Well, Eric Heiden is
hockey team.
at this. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the hockey game, which is actually the semifinal.
Do you believe in miracles?
But yeah, Eric Heiden's actually at this game, and he stays up super late
Yeah.
because I mean I think the game goes to like 12, and then you get home and you're all
Partied
jacked
out.
up. Yeah, I
you're
mean,
like you're drunk, but you're on adrenaline, so you're in that weird state of like, oh god, like I have to race tomorrow.
Yeah.
like
so the speed skating coach is waiting for him in the car, and they're like, "What's going on? Why isn't he coming down?" And she goes up, and she's like, "Oh, he was completely passed out." And I had to be like, "Eric, we need to be down for warm-ups in like 10 minutes." And he like jumps out of bed, and this is one of my favorite things is he fucking jumps out of bed and just jams a bunch of bread in his mouth. And
That's
she was
awesome.
Like, She was like, "I didn't understand it, but I mean, he had his own way."
Hey, there have been times when I've had to get places where I've eaten some really weird stuff for brunch/breakfast. So I'm not blaming him. And even though gluten's supposedly bad,
Yeah.
look what bread did in this race.
It was delicious.
Yeah, delicious
American bread.
Yeah.
So he shows up to the 10,000 meter, and he does what people are saying was before the Olympics the impossible, which is win every single speed skating event.
Yeah.
And people were trying to like make, equate this to other things. And they're like, it'd be like a sprinter showing up, winning the 100 and then winning the marathon. Like,
Exactly, because he's doing every event. The only thing I can equate this maybe to is Michael Phelps, and he got some medals off of relays where it wasn't like him individually.
And he also wasn't in the straight up sprints.
Yeah.
The 50 meter or
50
whatever.
meter,
yeah,
100
yeah.
meter, whatever. Yeah.
So like that's why I think this, because he literally was in every single event that they were offering. He got a gold medal, which is it's just
amazing.
insane.
It's
yeah.
so and like he's celebrated after this, rightfully so. But like you're in 5 events, you win all 5, and you dominate, and you're in America for that Olympics. So it's like, holy cow, that's so cool.
No, it was definitely one of the most amazing Olympic performances ever. And people are saying, like, for an individual to have 5 gold medals, the only countries that out-medaled Eric Heiden in this Olympics were the Soviet Union and East Germany.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying, those are the only ones that had more gold medals than Eric Heiden.
But what about the Jamaican bobsled team, Chris? Were they in this one?
Feeling very Olympic today. So and that's
Rest
the
in
thing.
peace, John Candy.
That's the thing about Eric Heiden's story is it doesn't end here. Oh,
No.
Just to go back real quick, this
Yeah.
was a fun little story. Time Magazine, their deadline was Sunday night, and his 10,000 meter race was Sunday night. And they asked him if he would get 5 gold medals to take a picture just in case he won so they can put it out.
Oh, wow.
And what was awesome was they were like, well, he wasn't superstitious whatsoever. He just wanted to own the photos so that if he didn't win, it wouldn't come out.
Yeah, like
that was
he
the
wouldn't be
only thing.
embarrassed by
Yeah,
it.
he was just like, I'm going to win. I'm ready for it. I'll take those photos, but I need to own the photos. And I was like, that's an awesome story.
Well,
where
you don't want bad karma. 'Cause
No.
that's just like, you're testing fate there.
Yeah.
Like, take the pictures, go ahead. And, you're obviously going to win. But, like, how embarrassing would that have been? It's like, Dewey defeats Truman.
Yeah, exactly.
But 1983, elected to the U.S. Olympic Hall of Fame and the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame in 1990. But let's get into his post-skating career after he retired.
Well, this was something that he had been doing as far as like training and stuff. He had been cycling his entire life. So I feel like it was like a winter speed skating, summer cycling kind of thing. Another thing that people were saying was his legs were so ridiculously strong that it was an easy transition for him to go into cycling.
Quadzilla, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're doing both sports, they're kind of the same in terms of like the endurance aspect. It's like, it's not snowing, but I can do something to really get that oxygen pumping,
Well, I saw actually a quote from him where he said that he understood what kind of training it took to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
If I could do that, if I can fully dedicate myself to cycling, I could be one of the best cyclists in America. And that was like his mindset with that is like, I understand the training. If I actually just put the time in, I can do it. And I loved that.
Oh, I'm just moonlighting as Lance Armstrong. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
But he doesn't just moonlight. When his skating career is over, he throws himself into cycling.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good at it. I mean, 1981, the UCI Track and World Cycling Championship, he competed in that.
Yeah.
Which is like, granted, you're training as a cyclist, but only on the side. It's like you have to be really good to get involved with that type of thing. He finished 19th in that one. He was a founding member of the 7-Eleven cycling team, I had ended up reading. And then finished the 1985 Giro d'Italia, which is not the Tour de France, but one of the big bike races in Europe. And he also even competed in the 1986 Tour de France, but got into a little bike accident.
Yeah, he got injured. Collision, correct?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Got
Collision.
concussion.
Yeah, and they tried to get him back on his bike, and the team doctor showed up, and he was like, he's done. Like, they were, like, thinking that he could kind of get back on and go, and the doctor was like, yeah, no, he needs to... And I'm pretty sure he spent some time in the hospital, and that was kind of the end of his cycling career because... you kind of have like this window.
Yeah, but how cool would that have been if he 5-time gold medalist and you just finished the Tour de France?
I know.
Like, oh my God.
And that's what he said. He wanted to compete in this and have, the cycling be almost at the same level, and he was getting there and then kind of got injured, and I feel like it kind of took the steam out of it.
Took the steam out, but I mean, in '88, he was the first U.S. professional, won the first U.S. professional cycling championship and the first American road race champion. So it's like, who knows? We could be talking about him like we would talk about Lance Armstrong or something. Without,
without awesome
controversy.
drugs.
Yeah, good for drugs and those little yellow wristbands.
But that's the thing is, back in the day, I felt like the window was a lot shorter in the Tour de France elite era, you know? So
this is probably when nobody's testing for anything.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway, he doesn't stop there. Like, his kind of professional sports is, a little bit over, but he's a very smart person, very intelligent, follows in his father's footsteps, Jack actually, and becomes a doctor, like a medical doctor, not like a philosophy doctor, a real doctor.
He becomes an orthopedic surgeon, correct? Yeah.
He's an orthopedic surgeon.
Graduated from Stanford.
Residency training at UC Davis in '96. Worked at a sports medicine clinic in Birmingham, Alabama. And then went back home to California and was an orthopedic surgeon in the Sacramento area for a while, which is pretty dang impressive if you think about it. Like, I'm just an American hero. Go be a doctor. Well, be a surgeon.
I want to say this because right after the Olympics, people were trying to get him to be the spokesman of a bunch of different...
Yeah, that's right.
And he turned down a ton of them. The only ones he did was like Crest, and I think he did like MasterCard, and they were saying he did those because he actually used those products, and he wanted that to be like an authentic with his style and not just be on every single thing. And they were saying like how...
You mean you don't want him to star in those General commercials with Shaq?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing is he definitely didn't take the fast money, and you can see it later in life where he dedicated himself to cycling, another sport that did not have a high income. And then he ended up going and becoming a doctor and really just like you could tell kind of followed what he was passionate about.
Yeah, and good on him. It's
Yeah.
like one of those few examples. Oh, follow what you love, and it'll all work out. It's like, good for you, dude. But he really got involved with sports medicine, and I found that to be super interesting. Almost like not as a way of giving back, but just like you can tell how much this guy loves athletics. You know?
Well, I saw I forgot what athlete it was, but they were talking about how he understood the amount of training that they wanted to get back into right away. They're
Yeah.
like, I don't want to pussyfoot this. I want to get right back into making this as strong as it can be. And that's what I feel like that's what athletes were kind of missing in the medicine era, was like ex-athletes being like, no, I get it. I get what you're going through.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, how many examples are like an like how many ex-athletes end up becoming orthopedic surgeons?
maybe another one.
Yeah, maybe another guy. I don't know.
I don't know. But that's why they were talking about how great it was to talk to him, because he understood shit you were going through. So,
Oh,
yeah.
totally. No, and he was a orthopedic surgeon in Sacramento, like I said before, the team physician for the Sacramento Kings and the WNBA team, the Monarchs there. In 2002, 2006, 2010, and 2014, he was the team physician for the U.S. Olympic speed skating team.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, who better do you want to work on you if you're not feeling right than the guy
Yep.
in your sport? Like, you can call him the GOAT. I might. But he opened up an orthopedic specialty hospital in Utah, and also a Heiden Orthopedics in Park City, Utah, which I think is pretty cool. He was the doctor in 2009 for J.R. I'm going to butcher this last name, Shaleski. He crashed and cut himself to the bone in one of the races.
Oh, yeah.
Heiden worked on him, and he competed and won bronze in the 2010 Winter Olympics, which is pretty awesome if you ask me.
Yeah, that's great.
But other thing I wanted to get into. Do you want to get into his Olympic 2002 in Utah? The little controversy with him. Not that he's wrong or bad. But
No, and it's silly controversy. They asked him to come and be a part of it, and he wanted to be the one to light the final. I forget the final torch.
the Olympic torch, yeah. And mind you, I think this is the first Winter Olympics in the United States since 1980.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is a big deal. And I don't even think it's an ego thing for him. I think it's like, I won 5 gold medals. I'm an American hero. They should be playing Rick Derringer in the background as I light that torch.
Well, that's the thing is we were talking about it pre-podcast. They end up giving it to the hockey team that did the Miracle on Ice. And as far as accomplishments go, his definitely better, 5 gold medals. But as far as like the impact it had, I feel like the hockey team does deserve it. And that's why he was like, well, if I'm not lighting the torch, I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
And he actually had to make a statement to be like, I have nothing against the hockey teams. I still think some of those guys are my friends. Of just saying, like, I felt like I should have been the guy lighting the torch.
And he has a very valid argument.
Yeah.
And let's remember that Soviet game was a semifinal game,
Yep.
not a final game. But still very impressive as far as, the only other U.S. Soviet sporting event that ended better was when Rocky Balboa went to Moscow and trained on a mountain.
And you know what? He turned those commies into just Americans.
Just Americans, yeah.
Yeah.
They were chanting his name at the end. But no, Eric Heiden, arguably one of the best U.S. Winter Olympic athletes that has ever existed, one of the best kind of all-around athletes of his era in the non-Big Four sports for what he was
Absolutely.
able to accomplish. And just a very successful person overall as far as, oh yeah, I just got a, medical degree from Stanford, just an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah, he's just constantly winning.
Yeah.
Can't really deny Eric Heiden. So
His
good